Are you a football fan? Have you ever found yourself wondering, what in the world was that ref thinking? Well, Mike D, the referee, is here to help you. Join me on Whistle Talk as I talk to professionals on the field and in the booth to help you understand what is going on inside the mind of a football official. All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another episode of Whistle Talk. Mike D, the referee, coming back at you here from the lovely state of New Jersey, from the New Jersey shore, as we like to say it here. And actually, I forgot my drink tonight. I was gonna have a little local distillery bourbon tonight, but I've left that out in the other room, so we'll have to have that after the show's over. But welcome back to another episode here. Before we dive into the guest, first thing I want to make sure that if you're enjoying the show, as I always ask, do me that favor, hit that like button, hit those follow buttons, hit those subscribe buttons right now. It is completely and utterly, totally free. So it costs you nothing other than just a tap on your screen. If you're driving, wait until you're done driving. And then if you could just hit those like buttons, I would appreciate it. While you're at it, if you want to leave a quick rating or review on your favorite podcast app, that would be beneficial to me, and again to all of us that are out there, because again, we're all trying to grow this awesome community of football officials that we have. So the more ears and eyes we can get on the show, hopefully the more our community will continue to grow. With that, if you know somebody who might be getting interested in officiating or is starting out in officiating or just needs a refresher, share an episode with them. Just help check it out, help them check it out. And you could also go to my YouTube page at www.youtube.com/ Mike D, the referee. And again, I ask if you go there, just hit that subscribe button also. So now that I got all that fun stuff out of the way, let's talk some football. Let's get to the good stuff. With me tonight from the awesome state of Iowa, going a little Midwest here now, I have Mr. Monte Tilgner. Did I say it right?
Yes.
Oh, good. Because we talked about it before I hit the record button, and then I just saw I had a little brain fart there, But Monte Tilgner is joining us from Iowa. Monte, how are you doing tonight, sir?
I'm doing well, thanks.
Appreciate taking the time out of your busy schedule. So I ran into Monte on that YouTube thing that I was just referring to. Monte puts out some awesome content out there for officials that I do highly recommend you go and take a look at too. For the Iowa High Schools IHSAA, Iowa High School Athletic Association.
Yes.
So Monte, why don't you tell the listeners a little bit about yourself, and then we'll kind of dive into a couple of the plays that we're going to talk about tonight.
Yeah, so I currently work in the Big Ten Conference. It's my fourth year as a deep wing, and started out like everybody else. Someone talked to me about getting in officiating, and thought it sounded like a good idea. I'd done some lower level, youth basketball and stuff like that in the past. Never any football, but when I was teacher and when I moved to Orange City, Iowa, had a local official who asked me if I wanted to get involved with football officiating. So like everybody else, started with those, middle school games, and then, freshman JV, was working varsity, I think in my second year, and then just really enjoyed it. So decided I'd like to, get a crew of my own. So I became a white hat and kind of got some guys that I knew well, and a couple of them, I got them started in officiating, and we formed a crew that, worked a lot, high school games. And I think it was our 6th year. We got a semifinal in the Unidome, which was pretty cool. We were by far the youngest crew that was there.
Oh, awesome.
So that was a great thing. And then I wanted to get into college. I had that interest, so I went to a clinic and got started in the Great Plains Athletic Conference, the GPAC, which is NAIA, and just started filling in. Eventually got on a crew, In between all that, I went to a clinic up in Minneapolis and got noticed by Mike Cannon, who is a retired Big Ten referee and field judge. He had 3 national championship games. Mike did, and he's still a trainer for us in the COC. And he saw something in me at the clinic that when he watched me on the field and threw my name in front of Bill Carollo and just got lucky, and it ended up moving up. I had 2 years in the Big Sky Conference,
Okay.
kind of sent out there with Bill and a buddy of his who was in the NFL and was in charge of the Big Sky, and then came back in 2014 to the COC, which is Missouri Valley, the MAC, and the Big Ten. Had 1 year in the Valley, 6 in the Missouri in the MAC, and then this is my 4th year in the Big Ten. So came out of Iowa, obviously. So I like to give back and help others as well because I've been helped so much in my officiating career. And so I talked to the state about helping because we really didn't have any training that was going on, and they hired me a few years ago to kind of be the trainer of officials for football. And yeah, now we're putting out a uh, weekly video, and ours are a little different than some other states. It actually shows plays, usually 10 to 15 plays from the last week's games
Mm-hmm.
around the state. And so, I've been getting officials to buy in to be willing to send in their plays,
Yes.
even if it didn't go so well.
Yep.
Otherwise, we find a lot. There's some that get sent into the state or it's sent into me now as well, and we just use those to try to train our officials and try to get more consistent and keep improving as it's what we all want to do.
Absolutely, and that's one of the great things. And I know we're going to watch a couple of clips, some on Huddle, another one you have on another site. But we do the same thing for our local association here in New Jersey. We're the Shore chapter, so we're about 42 schools. I think we're up to now before we hit into the state stuff. But we meet every 2 weeks, and we always have huddle clips. Sometimes, as a crew, I'll submit it to our association. Say, hey, take a look at this one. This is a good talking point. Or, like you said, other times a coach will send it in saying, hey, can you guys take a look at this? We'd like to get a clarification on what they called. And other times it's just a unique situation that pops up. They're like, hey, let's all take a look at this because we want to be prepared if you may have this
Right.
team or if you have this situation pop up in your games coming up, because we all know that this league, all the leagues, all the coaches, well, they all like to steal from each other. They all like to see it
Right.
happen on one day, and then they're going to steal it and try to modify it on another day. And all the times that we hear, well, they didn't call it on us last week. Well, okay, well, maybe we educated ourselves better coming into this week now. So we all are learning on the go a lot of times too. So and having these refresher videos are
Right.
fantastic. And like you said, sometimes people don't like to see their face on the screen or see their crew on the screen. They think it's a demerit, but we make mistakes. It happens. I mean, we're human beings again. And if my mistake can help out 40 other crews, then let's help out 40 other crews. Hopefully they don't make the same mistake we did.
Right. Yep.
So, as I was mentioning, your YouTube page, you put those clips, the weekly clips up onto a YouTube page. And do you guys have set meetings that you'll all sit and talk with, or is it just okay? Here are the clips from this past week in the state of Iowa. Or are you pulling from other states? How is that working?
No, we just use from the state of Iowa.
Okay.
Jared Chizik is our state representative for football, and Jared and I talk every once in a while during the week and kind of decide what plays to use. A lot of coaches send in plays to the state, so some of those we'll use. Some are ones that I find in other playlists that other officials create, and then I also have officials that will send me different plays that they had in their games that we'll use as well. So usually between 10 and 15 clips, and the video review for that past week is usually about 20 to 25 minutes long.
That's awesome. That's good stuff. So, with that being said, I don't want to keep everybody in suspense. So Monty had sent me a couple of clips, and we talked about it before production that Monty's gonna share the screen from his end so that he can manipulate the screen because these are his plays and things that he's talked about. And as we all know, as football officials, no matter what level we're at, that the kick game really, really likes to play games with us and make sure that we're all on our toes. So, got a couple different clips, and we're going to dive into one clip in particularly on a really deep level about, well, basically on a punt play. So, Monty, you want to share your screen and take it from there?
You bet. All right, let me get this ready. All right, are you able to see my screen?
I got you.
Okay. So this is one from a bowl game a few years back, and I do a lot of training of officials, individuals, and crews as well. And this is a play that I use, and we get pretty deep into it. So it's just going to start out with a basic punt play, and I'm going to go in slow motion. So I'll talk to. Oops, let me go back a little bit here. I talk with our crews about, where we're supposed to be looking. And if we're talking 5-man, that these guys are going to be releasing downfield. We know that he releases at the snap. He'll release as soon as the ball's kicked, and kind of where our eyes need to be. And, with only 5 officials out there, it's really important that we're watching, the right people.
Mm-hmm.
So, we got our eyes here on these guys, and then in these group here, and we got to decide kind of who to watch based on chase mode and so on. So as I go forward here, you're going to see this is what we call chase mode here. This player is chasing. He's behind this this player, and so we got I talk a lot about red flags. So he's got a red flag for a potential block in the back,
Yep.
and so we need to make sure we have eyes on that. And as we continue through here, you can see we are going to get a push in the back right there, and you can see it propels that player past our return man. So first thing we're going to do is just talk about if we just have this foul, what we're going to do with it. And Michael, make sure you ask questions too.
Yep.
Try to prompt me along with stuff, or if there's any questions you think people might have. But so let's just say that we've got this foul here, this block in the back, and let's say we get a clean catch, and we have this returner who possesses it there. Oops, I got to get my cursor up, and he ends up running out of bounds at the 50-yard line.
So
And
the kick ends at approximately ours 27-yard line. It looks like, with the
yes,
block in the back happening at approximately the 28-yard
yep,
line. So, and
yep.
again,
So
just for I apologize for the people that aren't able to watch that might be listening. So it's your
oh yeah,
outside gunner basically broke free and was inside or got, as you talked about, put the return team in chase mode. So the gunner is bearing down on the punt returner right there, and you got him in chase mode. And I know a lot of officials say, "All right, we got smoke here," so they're going to focus their attention on that spot. So,
yep, yep. I talk about red flags. So
mm-hmm.
if someone's in a higher potential to foul, I say that's a red flag.
Yep.
And red flags don't always, but sometimes, often, will turn into a yellow flag that we got to put on the ground. So in this one, yeah, we've got a block in the back that occurs during the kick. So when I'm working with crews or individuals, when we report this foul to our crew, which we really are reporting it to our entire crew, not just the referee, we want to open up our O2Os, and we want to use proper terminology. So we want to say the first 3 words out of our mouth on a kick play. If we have a foul, if we put a flag down when we're reporting it to the crew, is either during the kick or during the return, because that puts us kind of in the right bucket for our penalty enforcement.
Mm-hmm.
So, if I report to the crew during the kick, I've got an illegal block in the back, return team number 10. Then when I say during the kick, those well versed in officiating football are going to know that we're talking PSK. And then we need to understand what the basic spot is. Well, the basic spot for PSK is different than the basic spot just on a regular scrimmage kick or free kick play.
Yep.
So on a regular free or scrimmage kick play, the basic spot is the previous spot, but PSK, post scrimmage kick, has its own basic spot specific to that rule, and that's the end of the kick. So if this end of the kick ended at the 27-yard line, and not only do we need to know the yard line, we need to know the ball position.
Yep.
So we talk about ball position 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And 1 is always press box side, and then 5 is always opposite the press box. And then 2 is going to be the upright on the press box side. 3 is right in the middle. 4 is opposite upright, and then 5 is the opposite hash.
Mm-hmm.
So we talk about that as well. So if this occurred at position 3 at the 27-yard line, then per PSK basic spot, that is our basic spot. And we know that with the 3-and-1 principle, all fouls by the team in possession, but one, which is foul by the team in possession behind the basic spot, are enforced from the basic spot. Well, this foul occurred in advance of the basic spot. The foul was at about the 30. The basic spot was 3 yards behind that at the 27. So we're going to enforce this from the basic spot. And that basic spot is the end of the kick, not only the 27-yard line, but position 3. So if this guy runs out of bounds at the 50-yard line, and we have this official who threw his flag, and he threw his flag, and his flag only got to about the 35, position 4, okay, let's say, we need to think about, do we need to move our flag or not? Well, in this case, we don't, because we're enforcing it from the end of the kick, not from the spot of the foul, so we don't have to adjust our flag to the spot of the foul. But
And
we do need to enforce it from position 3, and we're going to go 10 yards back from the 37 to the 27, position 3, where the receiving team will put the ball in play.
and in the diagram, the individual that he showed throwing the flag is probably about 20 to 25 yards away from the sideline, so it's on a diagonal. So sometimes even with those long toss flags, they don't always make it the true distance that you want to get it exactly on the spot.
Yes.
So with this one, who's responsible for knowing that it's going to be in spot 3? Is that going to be your back judge with the beanbag, or is that going to be on the person throwing the individual flag?
Yeah, good question. So the back judge uses the beanbag to mark the end of the kick. Remember, we don't mark if team R would muff it.
Mm-hmm.
We're not going to beanbag the muff spot. We do need to beanbag a first touching by team K. So that's why, as a back judge, you need 2 beanbags, because you might have to beanbag a first touching spot and then also the end of the kick. But in this case, just the end of the kick. Now, our back judge is probably going to have is going to be at an angle. I like our back judges to be 5 to 7 wide, 5 to 7 deep. So since this receiver was at the 27-yard line, position 3, our back judge ideally would be at about the 20-yard line and probably at about position 1. And that way he has a good 45-degree angle to see if we have like kick-catch interference possibilities, or if that return man would muff the ball, and does it go right through his hands, or does he touch it, and so on. So when we toss our beanbag as a back judge, we usually just toss it forward to that yard line, and that's okay. But it is important that after the fact, when we hear we have a foul, that we take our beanbag and we go to the spot of the end of the kick.
Yep.
So if we tossed our beanbag forward from the hash to the hash at position 1 and we got it to the 27-yard line, when we hear our headline judge say during the kick, illegal block in the back, number 10 of the return team, we're going to enforce it from the end of the kick. As a back judge, we need to get our beanbag and just move over with the beanbag to spot 3, so where he physically did, catch that ball, and we have the end of the kick. And then when they come down, you're going to tell your umpire, here's our basic spot. We're going 10 from here.
And that's good stuff. And I just want to throw another caveat in there. Here in New Jersey, we're typically a 6-person crew, so we don't have
Okay.
the back judge. We've got 2 guys along the sideline. So what you're talking about, majority of the time, they're marking the yard marker, the yard line where the catch occurred.
Yep.
So a lot of times that beanbag is going to be right along the sideline in a
Right.
non-penalized play. You're going to have it right along the sideline. Because we're typically about 5 yards deeper than the return person. And
yes,
we've gone back and forth with the mechanic on that. Something we used to have one in front, one behind to watch for the muff, but now we're both behind. And then if if the goal line's being threatened, got to be back at the goal line. So all the different mechanics there. So we're typically beanbagging at just the yard marker, not the lateral spot. So just for everybody with the heads
all
up.
good. You just need to go and get to that proper ball position of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. When you find out there is a foul, so just pick up your beanbag and move into that spot, because that's where we're going to enforce it from. Or you could 0-2-0 it and tell the umpire, hey, we're going to go from position 3. Yeah, after the referee's made his announcement, we don't want to interrupt that, but then we can get on our 0-2-0 and as a side judge, you could say, if John's our umpire, John, you're going to go 10 yards from position 3 at the 27-yard line.
Yep. And that's good, because a lot of times I do, as an umpire myself, I do try to cheat. Once I see everybody's cleared me that I'm safe, I'm going to try to get my head around just to kind of help out with our deep wings in case there is a muff or first touching, because of the side placement that I'm talking about on the sideline. Sometimes if the ball's punted down the middle of the field, but not all the time am I able to get my head around, because you got blocks going on out in front. You got the second wave coming down, not just the long snapper free releasing, but the defensive line's holding them up. So I got to make sure that all that stuff is clear. But once that stuff is clear, I'm going to snap my head around and try to get myself to that catch to see where that catch occurred. So I'm giving myself a little bit of an idea, but not always able to do that.
Right. Yep. Okay, so now we talked about a PSK play, which is during the kick, and then the other scenario is if we have where he picks up the ball, fields it or picks it up after the bouncing, rolling, whatever, and runs with it. So if the foul occurs while he is in possession of the ball, then we want our first 3 words out of our mouth when we report to the crew should be during the return. And when we say during the return, if we understand penalty enforcement well, we know we just have a running play now.
Yep.
This is no different than a handoff. So it's a running play. And what's a basic spot on a running play? The end of the run. So it's really important for penalty enforcement. We always talk basic spot first before we think about enforcement spot. If we skip the basic spot and we just think about where am I going to enforce this from, that's when we make mistakes.
Yep.
So I really, really work on that with individuals and crews for penalty enforcement. So when you say during the return, then everybody's thinking, okay, it's a running play. So now let's say that this is a 6-man game, and we've got our side judge up here, and our foul, let's say, occurs right here. So let's say we have an illegal blindside block that occurs right there, and we're going to put this at the 37 yard line, and it's going to be at position 2. All right. That may or may not be relevant, but our blindside block occurred at the 37, position 2. It was thrown by our side judge at the top of the screen, and he did have a long toss flag, but his flag got to about the 33-yard line and about position 4. So now again, when you're reporting that as a side judge to the crew, you're going to say, I've got an illegal blindside block, number 10 of the return team. We start out with during the return, illegal blindside block, number 10 of the return team. And then you need to let everybody know, if you understand it well, you want to tell them, where we're going to enforce this from.
Yep.
So you're going to see that one, you're going to see your flag was short of where the block was. So in this case, since you see that runner ran past where that block was, you now know that you're going to have to move your flag to that spot, because we're going to enforce this with the 3-and-1 principle. So we're going to enforce this from the spot of the foul.
Yep.
So your flag was at ball position 4 at the 33. You have to move your flag to the 37-yard line, ball position 2. So you're going to get your flag, you're going to move it to that spot, and you're going to report to the crew. And you can be doing this, you can be moving your flag as you report it. So you could be during the return, illegal blindside block, number 10 of the return team, I'm moving my flag to the spot of the foul.
Yep.
So when you say that, you're telling your referee, your umpire, everybody on the crew, you're telling them, okay, so that means we're going to enforce that from the spot of the foul. He's moving his flag. If your flag is good, you just say, my flag is good. But when you say I'm moving my flag or my flag is good, you're telling everyone we're going to enforce that from the spot of the foul.
And now the importance of this is because the end of the run occurred at approximately the 50-yard line. So if we didn't have the flag in the right spot, or if we enforced it from the end of the run, now we're kind of cheating one of the teams. So we want to make sure that we get that flag right, and that we're also going to enforce it from the right spot.
Yep. And we also need to go to position 2.
Yep.
So even though he ran out of bounds, in the press box side, which would be position 1, we can't just walk into position 1 and get to the proper yard line and go back 15 yards. We need to, since we're enforcing the spot of the foul is not just the yard line, it's the lateral ball position 1, 2, 3, 4, or 5. And in this case, we're going to go from the 37-yard line, position 2, 15 yards back. So we're going to snap the ball from the 37, 27, 22-yard line, position 2. And we know that anytime we have a kick play, we're going to be on the snap.
Yep, on the snap. That's the easy part of these, because you got to change a possession right now. So we're going to go on the snap. Even though we went out of bounds, it made it even easier, but still a change of possession. We're going on the snap.
Yep. So now let's tweak this one more time, and let's say that we have the same thing. We got our catch, and our runner ends up running out of bounds on the press box side position at the 50-yard line. And this time we have a blindside block that occurs just before he ends up going out of bounds. So it's going to occur about the positive 47-yard line, right, even with the numbers. Okay. And in this case, our umpire does a great job of opening up his vision. Our umpire throws his flag, and he throws his flag, but his flag goes a little too far and ends up at the 50. So again, we need to think about, when did the foul occur? Where did the foul occur? And what was the end of the run? Because we're going to start out with during the return. So we know we have a running play. So we know our basic spot is the end of the run, which was the 50, position 1. And the foul occurred in advance of that. So in this case, we are not going to enforce it from the spot of the foul. We're going to enforce it from the end of the run. So we do not have to worry about moving our flag.
Mm-hmm.
We only need to move our flag if our flag is going to be used for the penalty enforcement. And in this case, it's not. So we don't have to move our flag. So in this case, our umpire is going to walk in to the 50-yard line, position 1, and he's going to go 15 yards back. And again, we'll be position 1, 35-yard line, and the clock will be on the snap.
So Monty, let's say for positioning wise, let's say that block in the back still happened at the plus 47 where you have it, but it happened in position 3. Yep. We're going to go back from the end of the run, which is the 50-yard line, but are we going to go to position 3 or go to position 1 because of the end of the run?
Yep. So great question. So remember that whole thing comes back to where are we enforcing it from?
Yep.
And if we say the end of the run, then we use the ball position of the end of the run, which in this case would be
Position
position
one.
one. If we are going to enforce it from the spot of the foul, then we use the spot of the foul lateral ball position. But in this case, since it was in advance, we would not. We'd still go from position one. But like the previous example, if this occurred behind the end of the run at the other 45, then if we were at position three, we would go from position three. So great question. All right. Now we're going to make things a little more difficult. So we're going to run this play a little bit, and you're going to see what happens. So we do have a block in the back, but that guy runs into our return guy. He just knocked him over. Okay. Ball comes down, and it hits our return man. And then the ball ends up getting picked up by the return team. All right. And to start this whole thing off, we had a valid fair
So we
catch
just
signal.
lost Monty for a
So,
moment
Michael,
there. He's
what
got some
does
internet
that
issues,
mean
which I
when
know everybody
a teammate of
in
his,
my world
if he
can
gives a
truly
valid fair catch
understand.
signal, but a teammate of his picks up the muffed ball?
So while we have a short break, let's take some time to talk about our buddies at Battlefields to. Finding purpose after serving can be tough, but Battlefields to Ballfields is making the journey easier. This nonprofit gives veterans a chance to become officials in any sport, providing financial help, gear, and mentorship. Apply for scholarships or support their cause at battlefields2ballfields.org. That's battlefields, the number 2, ballfields.org. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we're back again. Just a quick word there from our friends at Battlefields to Ballfields, and we're back right now. Monty is going to continue going over the kicking play that we've been discussing, but now adding another little caveat to it. So take it away, Monty.
All right. So now that we kind of got the basics with a PSK and a foul that's during the kick and a foul during the return, whether it's in front or behind the basic spot, now we're going to make things a little more difficult. So as you can see, what happens in this play is not only do we have a block in the back, but the player who got blocked in the back ends up, as a result of that, hitting of the return man. And the returner then muffs the ball because of that contact, and that ball ends up getting recovered by one of his teammates, and his teammate recovers it. Now, let me put this out there. What happened was we had a valid fair catch signal by the returner. So when we got that, Michael's laughing. When we got that, Michael, what does that mean when anybody on either team, whether it be K or R, picks up this ball?
It should be killed.
Right. So his teammate picked it up. He doesn't know, that he gave it for a catch. He's going to pick it up and he's going to run with it. But we need to know, as a back judge or whoever is the one who saw the signal, we need to know that we need to blow that dead. So So now what we've got is we've got a problem, because our back judge, all he knows is someone ran into my guy. And when someone runs into my return guy, as a back judge, I throw my flag for KCI. Now, the side judge threw a flag, or maybe the headline judge threw a flag for an illegal block in the back. And what's really important is that side judge or headline judge has to come into our back judge and say, the guy that ran into your returner was the guy that was blocked into, he was blocked into him. And that means we're going to pick up the KCI. So we're not going to have KCI, but we are going to have a block in the back. So
now, quick question for you, and just listening to everything you were saying, did the receiver touch the ball? Was this considered a muff, or did the KCI completely get the returner away and the ball bounced to the side?
No, that we had KCI, but that ball did hit the return man. So that means, we've got a live ball, which
Yep.
could be picked up by, well, obviously it can be picked up by K or R, but we know that if the kicking team picks up a kick or a muffed kick, it's going to be dead. And
Yep.
then whether it's their ball or not depends on, like you said, if this ball was muffed by the return team and recovered by the kicking team, it's going to be their ball unless we have something that would change that.
Trump that. Yep.
Yes. So in this case, it was recovered by the return team. So this is kind of our easiest scenario is it was recovered by the return team, okay? And we've got a foul for a block in the back on the return team. So if this ball, let's just say, was recovered by the hash at the top of the screen, so opposite the press box at the 25-yard line, at the numbers, we're going to blow it dead at that point. That's our end of the kick, okay? Doesn't matter where he muffed it. That's our end of the kick. And since our headline judge or side judge is going to say he was blocked into that contact. So we don't have KCI, but we do have an illegal block in the back. I lost my screen. We do have an illegal block in the back that we are
Which we
going.
talked about was at the 27-yard line
Yes.
originally. So
Yep.
27, and what was it? It was at lateral position 3, I think originally we had mentioned.
Yes. Yep. Yep. That's where the foul occurred, but our block in the back, our end of the kick was 5, outside of position 5. So with that being the case, that's where we're going to enforce the block in the back from. So even though the block in the back occurred at position 3, we're going to enforce it from position 5 because that's where our end of the kick was.
All right, so ladies and gentlemen, you could see there just one particular play how the kick game can really, really play games with us of knowing basic spots, end of the runs, all those different things, and knowing when it occurred. So all those things that we've talked about, and that's just on one singular kick play that we're referring to there, and all those different types of breakdowns and variables that are possible there. So it just shows you that the kick game is always going to keep us on our toes. So the next clip we're going to talk about is on a kickoff. So it's a kickoff. I think it's the next clip, if I
Okay.
remember correctly.
Yeah.
And it's a kickoff, and this is a play that we're kind of seeing a little bit more and more. Yep, this one right here. That we're seeing a little bit more and more in the high school levels of people trying to do it. And Monty's got a great little blurb there from Huddle, a very smart and great play in the NCAA, but this is a foul for illegal participation in NFHS football. So we got ourselves a kickoff. So a normal kickoff, 40-yard line. And Monty, I'll let you take it from there if you want.
Yeah, so this happened a couple weeks ago, ironically, after we'd been discussing it on a message board a couple weeks before that. So you can see this ball's rolling close to the sideline, and guys watch some college football because this happens in college, and you probably saw it. So he does a great job. Look at him. He doesn't touch it. He lays down, and then he reaches out, touches the ball, and he's thinking, hey, yep, I got to kick off out of bounds. We'll take the ball at the 35-yard line. Like I said, in college, great play. In high school, unfortunately, it is a foul for illegal participation.
So let me paint this picture again for the people that aren't able to watch. So the ball bounced at about the 20-yard line, close to the sidelines, and was bouncing around. And the returner, not only did he lie down, but he first completely stepped out of bounds. And when he's lying flat on the ground, the boundary line is basically at the returner's waist. So half of his body is out of bounds, the other half of the body is in bounds. And then after establishing himself out of bounds, he then reaches in and grabs the football for, in the NCAA, a kick out of bounds. In NFHS, illegal participation.
Yeah. There was also discussion of, well, why do we have illegal participation and not have a kickoff out of bounds? I mean, the result of plays a kickoff out of bounds, but the illegal participation trumps the kickoff out of bounds. So now, if the discussion then was, well, if this happens at the, so what's our enforcement again? So again, we always want to think basic spot. So I already said this before in the last play. What's the basic spot on a kick play? The previous spot, unless we have PSK. This is obviously not PSK. PSK stands for post scrimmage kick. This is a free kick.
Yep.
So we have a previous spot enforcement is our only option. So if they wanted to enforce this penalty, correct me if I'm wrong, Michael, illegal participation in high school, 15 yards, correct?
Correct.
Okay, so that'd be 15 yards from the previous spot. So the kicking team would now kick off from midfield. And they obviously could kick off anywhere, ball position wise in between, but they would re-kick from the 15-yard line. The 50-yard line.
From the plus 45, actually, because it's 15. So high school, we're
my
kicking
bad.
from
I
the
was
40.
thinking college for the 35.
Nope,
yes.
you're absolutely.
Yes, from the positive 45. And there's a good chance that if especially if this player did this at the 5-yard line, their only enforcement is 15 from the 40 to the positive 45 and re-kick. So in that case, they're probably going to want to decline it, because if they decline it, what's the result of the play? A ball out of bounds at the 5-yard line.
So now
you're going to want to talk to that coach to see what does he want to do.
2 questions for you. Many officials would think, okay, we've got the illegal participation. We've hit that one right, but we got 15 yards, but the returner is at about, I'm going to say the 12-yard line to make it a little bit easier. Why not half the distance from that, being we can't go back a full 15? And you already answered it, because in this scenario, we're going back to the previous spot. And a lot of people, because of where the foul occurred on the sideline, a lot of officials are going to try to enforce it from that spot as opposed to the previous spot. So yes, that's important that we understand that the options are going to be re-kick plus 15 yards, or decline the illegal participation and get it for a kick out of bounds. Now, my question here, and this is where the second question is, if we're declining the illegal participation, how come the kickoff out of bounds doesn't come back into play?
Good question. All I can say is it does not.
It's because it doesn't. Yep.
Yeah. We've discussed this with 3 different state rules. People are on the state rules committee, and it does not. It's not a kickoff out of bounds. We just have a dead ball at the 12-yard line in that case.
Yep. And so now in this particular play, and again, this one is extremely blatant. The receiver 100% purposely put themselves out of bounds and then reached back inbounds to receive that ball. Let's and I mentioned this to you pre-production, because this is something that as a crew we've talked about this particular play. What if the returner is looking up skyward at the ball and not paying attention to their exact spot on the field? They're looking to return the ball, and they've got 1 foot out of bounds as they receive the ball. Are we going to have kick out of bounds? Are we going to have illegal participation? Or are we going to have anything?
Yeah, good question. So it explicitly says in the rule book, for this to be illegal participation, he needs to intentionally go out of bounds and then touch the football. So if he does not intentionally go out of bounds, if he's just, he's looking for that catch and he ends up stepping on out of bounds, and then he touches the ball. Now, since we do not have illegal participation, we do have a kickoff out of bounds.
Yep. And from
remember,
that one,
with kickoff out of bounds, you do not get your choice of lateral ball position like you do on the touchback. So this went out of bounds on the press box side, which is position one. So we're going to go, if they elect to take the ball at the 35-yard line, then it's going to be from position one.
Yep. Or they could take it from 5 yards of where they went out of bounds, which in
Yep.
this scenario would put them at the 17. So I don't think they would want that
Yep.
one. Or they could move them, or they could take the ball at the 12. I don't think they're going to want that one. Or they can move the K back 5 yards and have them re-kick from that scenario.
Right. And
So
we don't want to trouble, we don't want to cause trouble and give them options that they will not ever use. So
yeah,
we don't want to even offer to the coach. The choices you're going to give the coach are, Coach, do you want the ball at the 35, or do you want to back them up 5 and re-kick?
yep.
Don't even give them any other options, because they're not options that they would take unless they
No,
don't understand something. And we don't want to give them an option, have them choose something and they just don't understand what it is.
and that explanation right there is 1,000% the reason we even talk about with the coin flip.
Yeah.
When the kids say,
Yep.
we're going to kick. No, you're going to defer.
Yeah.
None.
You do not let them say they're going to kick.
Yep. Don't
Check
even
with
give
the
them that
coach.
option.
You got crazy winds. I've had it happen when we've got
Yes.
really, really windy, but then you still want to, talk to that coach. Okay, coach, so what you're saying is you want to kick that direction. Am I right? You don't want
Yes.
to defer. You don't want the ball. You want to kick in that direction. Am I right? Yes. Okay. There you go. But
You
yeah,
understand that means you're kicking twice now, right?
yep. Good stuff
So
to talk about.
yeah, and these are all the things again, giving them trying to limit the decisions that they have to make, especially on a play like this one, because why would the coach want the ball at the 12-yard line as opposed to the 35? Why would the
Right.
coach want the ball at the 17-yard line as opposed to the 35? Now, a lot of teams are going to make them re-kick because they've got a stud kick returner,
Yep.
or maybe
Mhm.
it is a windy day type of scenario like that. But the rules have been put into place now to try to safeguard the game a little bit more and try to limit the number of kickoffs, because that is still where we're seeing a good amount of, at the high school level, more of the concussion rate increase because of the full speed contact that's happening on that particular play. So giving them the 25 yards from the previous spot is usually the most beneficial,
Right.
unless of course it goes out of bounds at the 50-yard line, and well, then they get 5 yards from there. So,
Right. Yep.
but yeah, great stuff, great stuff. And I mean, goodness, that's two particular clips, two plays that we just spent about 45 to 50 minutes talking about on just two plays, and that legitimately will show you just how crazy the kick game can truly be, and how great it is to see these videos and to see different things like this and to have the open discussions. And well, heck, if your crew or if you made a mistake, the officials out there, send it into your association. Let
Right.
everybody see it and learn from it. Like, swallow your pride. I don't like seeing myself up on the big projector when we go to our in-person meetings and seeing myself there. And, the camera puts on an extra 10 pounds. So I really don't like seeing myself on the screen. But if it's going to help other people out, take it, do it. So it's great stuff. Monty, once again, I truly appreciate you taking the time out of your busy schedule between helping out in Iowa to working the Big Ten games. Um, Really quick, I mentioned that you have the YouTube site, but what is the name of the YouTube site? So if people want to go and take a look at it.
Yeah. So it's just Iowa High School Athletic Association. So to go to YouTube, Iowa High School Athletic Association, and then they'll pop up, but you can go to playlists. There's videos from the last. This is the third year, so
Okay.
all videos from 2024 or 2023, 2024, and 2025 are all there. I did some ones like preseason ones. I did ones in preparation for our playoffs the last 2 years. And so there's a lot up there. If you want to watch film, there's a lot there.
Yeah, always. I'm a film nerd myself, so
Yeah, me
I
as
truly
well.
enjoy going back and watching these things, and it's hopefully making me a better official. So, but once again, Monty, truly appreciate you taking some time on a weekday night here. I know you got a lot of football coming up on the weekends and whatnot. So thank you once again. So, ladies and gentlemen, again, Monte Tilgner.
Yes.
Tilgner.
Yep.
Got it. Nailed it. All right. So joining us again from Iowa. Appreciate you, sir. Where can people see you in the next couple of weeks? Do you know your schedule yet?
Yeah, we're off this week, and then we head out to the West Coast for a game at USC in a couple weeks. So
The West Coast of the Big 12.
yeah,
Still can't get used to that one.
Big
But at
10
least
with
you,
18 teams. Yes.
yeah. Well, sir, once again, thank you very much. Ladies and gentlemen, go check out those YouTube sites. Check out the Battlefields to Ballfield site, battlefieldstoballfields.org. And again, if you enjoyed the show, hit those like and subscribe buttons and give us a thumbs up. And hopefully everyone out there is getting something from this. So share away if you can. Appreciate it all. All right, Monte, have a good night. And thank you once again.
Thank you.